betrayed him. He still pictures her as you were part of
the pimp. I call him the pimp.
It's in a book that can be stolen, a book that can be cracked open in someone else. But Professor Tatuba does try to clarify when Malik goes back to the past.
Welcome back to the Key and J Books podcast. I'm your host Jay, along with my co-host Key, and today we're going to be covering Freida McFadden's The Intruder.
This is
the second episode. How have you been this week, Key? How was your
My week has been stressful. Not even going to lie to you. And so this weekend I did nothing but rest and relaxation. I slept in. I ordered Starbucks this morning for breakfast. It was a very, very fabulous, wonderful, beautiful weekend. What about you?
Oh man, it was just, a little bit of busyness. Just had to do some running around yesterday. Today was church first. We do communion on second Sunday at our church.
So do we. Yep.
Today was a longer service than normal today. Then we had a baptism. And then I had to read the book. I was locked in. I did 30-something chapters. I was so proud of myself. I was moving and grooving.
You should feel proud.
Yeah, for sure. Other than that, how have you enjoyed this latest Freida McFadden book?
I have really been enjoying it. One thing I really, really like about Freida McFadden's books is that the chapters are so short. I didn't know that I would like that because I think I said this on our last episode. I like to sit with my characters for a little bit longer, but the fact that the chapters are so short means that you just kind of fly through this book. And I really, really like books that are, you can sit with them and you can read them and you can get through them. So I'm absolutely loving it. I can't guess anything. Freida is the queen of throwing so many twists and turns that you will never, ever be able to guess the ending. And I still don't quite know where the story is going. Even after this next 50, 60 pages that we're going to cover, I'm still like, where's the story going to go? And I like that. I like being surprised. I like not being able to guess. So I'm loving the book so far. What about you, my wonderful co-host, Jay?
Well, I ain't gonna lie to you, man. It's kind of slow for me right now. I'm hoping that it picks up, and it does. But I was hopeful that it picked up. The first, I wouldn't say it was slow. I would just say it wasn't. I was so nervous reading the book. I didn't know what was going to happen next, and that was kind of bothering me. So I wouldn't say it was slow. I'm just saying I'm being greedy. I wanted to be fed to me, what I'm saying, like good soul food. But I'm enjoying the book, man. Definitely one of those Halloween reads, man. But let's get into it.
I feel like it's perfect for the season. We left off last episode on chapter 22.
Right. So when chapter 23 happens, they was playing cards, right? She tries to pry. She tries to pry and kind of get in her business a little bit. I guess she seen the opening when they was playing cards. You know what I'm saying? But we get a reason why we also in that we almost get a reason why she was fired from Brigham Elementary School teacher, where she was three times teacher of the year at this school, which make me feel like, how can you get fired unless you attack the parent or something like that? You know what I mean? They have a little bit of a spat going back and forth as she's trying to pry information from her. And then at the end, the power goes out for good.
Yep. I put a note there too. I wonder so much what Casey did to get fired from her job because, like you said, she was nominated 3 times Teacher of the Year, and she seems like a pretty level-headed and stable character most of the time. So I'm thinking, what would have caused her to get out of character, to get fired from a job that she seems to be very, very good at? And I also put a note that Ella or Eleanor, because we don't know that she's Ella yet, the two point of views have not converged necessarily, but Eleanor is quite rude. She made a comment. Casey says, "Hey, did you want some cookies?" And she says, "Nah, I don't want to get fat like you." I was like, little girl, you about to get thrown out into the rain. You know what I mean? Exactly. That's what I was thinking. And I also think that Eleanor is also really, really smart. Like, she calls Casey out on the infinity promises, and she ends it with a threat that she has that knife in her hand, and she says, maybe it's Casey who should be worried before the lights go out. So this little girl got some sinister plans. I don't know. Casey's trying to be nice, and she's just every single turn. She's being rude. She's being devious. She's threatening her. And like I said, if it was me, I would have been like, okay, you can promptly get the hell out of my cabin and you can go outside. Like, I don't play with strange kids. You know what I mean? Exactly. I protected you. I saved you. And this is how you're going to talk to me. Bye-bye. But Casey is more equipped than us. Remember, she's the self-defense queen. She's the adult, and she's trying to help this girl. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to see the story play out. We'll see what happens.
Let's go into chapter 24 where we discuss Ella. She's in school. She makes it back to school. She's thinking that Anton is going to, spill the beans about her crib because, as we know from the previous episode, when he
her
went to her
mother is a
house,
hoarder,
and her mother's a hoarder, and all of this stuff was in her house, and all of the smells and water bottles and fish tanks and all this stuff. So she's thinking, oh, when I go to school, my
he gonna tell
business is going to
everybody.
be out. Everybody's going to know everything. But he doesn't say anything. He tells her there's nothing to tell. When she asks him, he's like, yo, it's nothing to tell. And that was my first sign that he was feeling her, because he didn't go back and say anything, to anybody about her crib.
Yeah, same. And I put, I'm glad that he didn't tell about Ella's house because I already can't stand his ass. And I was just like, I'm thankful because I don't have another reason to hate on him. And I feel the same way as you. It was at this point, I was like, okay, he's kind of feeling her a little bit because he's going up to her locker. Here's my address. Come after school. I'm like, okay, I see what Freida's throwing down. I see.
And to see you pick up when that chapter ends, because it ends so abruptly, and we're not skipping through any of these chapters. These chapters are maybe 1 or 2 pages, sometimes 3 pages. You know what I'm saying? So it's going fast. It's telling a good story, because in chapter 25, they go to Anton's house, right? And that's when she meets his little brother, Brad. They talk about how he got his mother to stop drinking with drops of Ipic, which made her sick. Ipecac. Yep. Oh, that's right. That's how you say
Ipecac syrup. I only know that because my grandma uses that. Not now, but I remember her using it. Like if you're sick, you swallow something you ain't supposed to swallow, it's going to induce vomiting. And that was Ipecac. I thought the name was so cool, Ipecac.
Because they start talking about each other's parents and how this person was addicted to this person and how she got her mom to stop. And she was talking about, her being good in science, and that Ipecac made her sick with the drops. And that's how she was able to get her mom to stop drinking. She's trying to give him information on how his pops could stop drinking, because as you know, his pops is a heavy drinker, and he comes home and probably hits on the kids or enrages or goes at the kids and stuff like that.
When he's drunk.
Yep, that's one of the things that she talked about. Also, she hurt Miss Fleming.
She did. I put a note here. I said
she hurt Miss Fleming.
My co-host was right. It seems like Ella did push Mrs. Fleming, and she put Ipecac syrup in her mom's alcohol to stop her from drinking. So she's way more of a mastermind than I gave her credit for. I will admit she had me fooled. I'm thinking, okay, she's had a hard life, but she's resilient. Oh, she's a fighter as well. She puts Mrs. Fleming. She puts Ipecac in her mom's alcohol to stop her from drinking. So she knows what she's doing. She's not as innocent as we first thought.
Exactly. And I know she stole Miss Fleming money.
Yeah, it's obvious now. She did steal the money. And she keeps putting an emphasis on the fact that her father has blue eyes based on genetics, And something that I found really interesting is that Freida is very descriptive with her writing. And there's 2 male characters in this book who were described as having blue eyes. Rudy, who is the creepy old man landlord, which in my head, I'm thinking he probably does not have the connection. He just seems like a creepy landlord. Right. But also Lee has blue eyes. And I said this in the last podcast. What if the little girl, who I'm thinking is Ella, but we don't know. What if that little girl is actually trying to get to Lee's house, who's 5 minutes away from Casey's house, but she just wandered up to Casey's house because of the storm, But the author keeps mentioning that blue eye thing. It's like a really, really big thing. My dad has to have blue eyes because my mom has, that's very, very important to her. And I just remember that Freida said a couple of characters have blue eyes. So that was something that I noticed in this chapter as well.
And at the end of that chapter, they kind of have a moment between them where we know that they're starting to gather, collect feelings for each other.
I think he's collecting feelings for her. I don't know about her collecting feelings for him.
I think
maybe that's what it is. It's clear that he likes her. He apologized. He said, look, you're not even really that smelly. Exactly. I just said that just to say it. Like, I'm sorry. But he legitimately apologized. And I'm like, oh.
So cute.
They're so cute. That's what I was thinking too.
And then chapter 26, the lights is out.
The lights is out.
Ella keeps her book bag. Casey offers her bed to Ella. And, she's like, you're going to give me your bed? And it's like, I go back and it's like when she was talking about her lumpy bed. And I guess that was the connection, how Freida be trying to trick you. You know what I'm saying? And thinking like that's the person, because I'm like, oh, maybe this is her because of the lumpy bed. She's surprised she's getting a new bed, but she keeps her book bag close to her. And we know it's something in her book bag.
Something bloody is in there.
Exactly. And it keeps her book bag, and then the lights is out. You know what I'm saying? And Casey is like, yo, this girl is crazy. Like, the lights is out. I don't know what to think with her, but I'm still going to be nice to her because she is a stranded child. So that was pretty much chapter 26.
She says, I can't even imagine what she's been through today. I'm sure murdering someone is very exhausting. Because Casey at this point thinks I literally cracked up laughing at that part. Yeah, but she doesn't really know what's happening, but she sees that there's some kind of drawing in a notebook or something. And I ended it saying, what is the drawing? Because I'm like, what is it? What is it?
Really know. Right.
Yep.
Because we don't
Yep.
really know, right? So
Yep.
then after that, I was like, okay, I see where Freida going with it. Because if you go to chapter 27, we go back and we see that her mom's, I like the connection that she's doing. One chapter Casey, one chapter Ella, two
I do
chapters
too.
Ella, two chapters Casey. So we're going back to Ella's chapter where her mom's has a second date with a guy named Harvey. And this seems to make the mother happy. And like Ella says, Ella's like, yo, my mom is most happiest when she's dating a man. That, you know, like how she mentions Shad again. And it's like when she's dating a man, everything is kind of not perfect, but it's better than what she was, right?
Yeah, she cleans up the house. She don't want him coming home to mess. He helps clean up. He takes care of things. They have more money because they have two incomes. And mom doesn't feel the need to hoard everything. So yeah.
Exactly. And then we find out something disturbing. While her mom's is about to leave to go on her date, she says, Mom, I don't want to go. And I'm thinking like, what the hell is going on? And what does she do to her daughter?
She locks her in the closet. Is that what you're talking about?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's a crazy moment. Like to lock your daughter in a closet with granola bars and be like, here, like shake it like a dog. Do you rather be hungry or you rather eat these old ass granola bars? So she's like,
well, and the fact that they got expired yogurt. And she's like, well, my mom eats it with no problem. I literally put the thought of eating expired yogurt is so depressing. And I kind of hate the mom now. And I really do. Like you're locking her in the closet with expired granola bars, expired yogurt. Like it's just honestly disgusting. But I think we have to remember that people who are hoarders, they really do have a mental illness. Like it's not like a normal thing. It's something's wrong in their brain, but it still leaves me no compassion when the mom is locking her in the closet. I'm like, yeah, you lucky I don't know you because I would have beat your ass, like for real. I don't even fight like that. I don't even be fighting like that, but that's a cause I will fight for. You locking this little girl in the closet, see me after school.
We also find out that she questions her mom about her dad in this chapter.
Yes.
Her mom won't give her an answer. And I'm like, why you won't give your daughter an answer about who her father is? You know what I'm saying? She kind of shies away from that.
Yep.
And at the end, she just says she can't wait to turn 18. But she also says in the chapter, you know, if she was living with her dad, probably none of this stuff would be happening. Probably life would be better. But then at the end of the chapter, she says she can't wait to turn 18 so she can get up out of this crib.
And I feel her. I feel the same way. I couldn't wait to get out of that shit either.
In chapter 28, when they go back to school, we realize that the first thing I put is Anton is dyslexic. He's not really good at school.
Yes. He, what is it? Ella is reading a note that he wrote on the notes for the rocks. And she notices it's not even just that the words are misspelled. The letter R is like backwards and stuff like that. And that was the first sign that he's dyslexic. And I was like, okay, so he has a learning disability. That's probably why he lashes out and is mean to other people because he's maybe a little insecure about that. But I thought that was really interesting.
And when they go to Anton's house after school, his brother comes in, right? And as his brother runs in, they kind of have a little moment, and he throws his brother in the closet, which sets off Ella.
Because she's scared. Yes, she's been used to being locked in the closet as like a punishment, and then she doesn't realize that Anton and his brother do this for fun. Like this is just a fun thing that they do. It's a game that they play, and his brother knows how to get out of the closet because Anton taught him how to pick the locks. And at the end of this chapter, Ella is like, "Can you show me how to do it?" And I think this is going to be really important because she figures out how to get out of that closet with her mom then locked her in there. I'm like, damn, you know.
But the crazy thing also is she freaks out because she also knows, she's like, you can't be just throwing, like she just has that moment where she goes at Son and he's like, yo, chill, like don't worry about this. Like we play a game. She's like, you can't just be throwing people in the closet like that. You don't know what they be going through. And she's kind of freaking out and all this extra stuff because he doesn't know that she's been locked in the closet when her mom goes on dates. So for him, it's like, yo, chill out. She's wild.
Right. Like what the problem is.
Like, why are you going so hard like that? So that should have been an alarm to my boy Anton, but you know he don't care because we also realize that they start to really like each other. Because
like I said, he likes her.
In this.
I'm telling you,
it ain't no one.
She said in this chapter, when I do bad things, it's always on purpose. If I mess with somebody, it's only because they deserve it. When she said this, I'm telling you, I got chills. It made me, and I literally put. So Ella has a habit of doing bad things. I'm so mad that the author made me sympathetic towards her when clearly she's a little dark and twisted in the head. So that's why I said, I know Anton really likes Ella, but I don't think that he understands just how bad she is. Like she's twisted in the head, and he's like, oh, I like her, oh, la la la. But so I think he really likes her, and I think she likes him as a friend, but I don't know if she's feeling him like he's feeling her, because like you said, I don't think she realizes the depth of his emotion for her at this point.
I got you. And in chapter 29, we stay with Ella because Anton suggests that Ella goes in the closet because he's going to show her how
trapped in the closet. Yes.
But she doesn't want to go in there. She's like, oh, hell no, I'm not going in no closet.
He's like, I'll go in there with you. Yeah.
But how you going to learn to pick a lock if you're not inside? She does it a couple times on the outside when the door is open. She learns how to pick it. But he's like, nah, you have to actually
you have to be inside.
You got to step inside the closet. And she like, hell no, boy, I'm not going in that closet where he mentions. He's like, y'all go in there with you to kind of, you know what I'm saying, go through the process with you. And she struggles for the first couple times, but after the third time, you know what I'm saying, she does it, she gets it, you know, and he hugs her, and it's her surprise because she doesn't get hugs like that, you know, and then she says it's okay, like, and I'm like, what? So she do like him, and he making moves every chapter. My son Anton is throwing the moves on this girl, on Ella, you know what I'm saying?
Yep, I see it. I see what Freida's doing,
you know. And I like Anton's character because she wrote him in orders to piss him off, but we quickly start to really, you know what I'm saying, enjoy his company.
Yeah, I put that he was growing on me. He really was. I think when he's not being an absolute ass, he's very, very sweet, helping her, not telling anybody about her home life, inviting her over to his home. You know, I definitely think he likes her. And I think he's a character that's been redeemed. He was an ass, but I like their relationship now. I'm really, really proud of him for teaching her, and I like him. I'm cool with Anton for now. He better not do nothing else to piss me off, but we'll see.
In chapter 30, we swing over to Casey, where she finds a map directly coming to her house as a last step for Eleanor, right? And then we find out that the tree is blown into the direction, and she can't lie to Ella. She tells her the truth about the tree. And
like it may fall.
It may fall on us. And she wondered why the map she found from Ella leads to her house. And she wished she had it. She wished she would have went to Lee's instead. So all that puffing out your chest you did about being a woman, that my father told me this, my father told me that. Now you wishing you went to Lee crib? Nah, don't wish now, because now you got all these thoughts in your head about why this girl just ended up at the crib, right? You could have been at Lee's chilling, drinking wine, relaxing. Or maybe not relaxing, because we find out later the destination. You know what I'm saying? Let's talk about that later.
Yeah, but right now in this chapter, Casey does see a map that I think Ella dropped on the floor, but she sees it, and literally it's a map directly to Casey's house. So at this point, Casey is thinking, okay, so this girl came to my cabin for a reason. I'm just thinking, though, why did she hide in the shed then? Why did she hide in the shed? Why didn't she?
Probably couldn't get in the crib.
That's true.
Or she was going to wait till she went to sleep.
Because remember, Casey did see a face in the window. Remember, and I'm thinking that was Ella, and maybe she seen she was in there and went to the shit. I don't know, but that's what I was thinking. Like, so it's a map to her house. We gonna see. We gonna see though. We gonna see.
Chapter 31. Ella takes a shower, and Casey checks her backpack. That was the main thing of this chapter.
Yep.
Kate going in, Casey letting her take a shower, and she trying to figure out how she can go and check her backpack, which she does, and she find out that there's clothes and a washcloth covered in blood
and
a notebook. And a notebook, and she takes the notebook. And then this is crazy. She asks if people get what's coming to them, and it's okay. She says, I believe you. Well, then you're stupid.
Yeah. And I put Eleanor, or whoever she is, because we don't know if she's Ella or not, but Eleanor is very rude. Like, Casey is nicer than I'd have been. I get she's trying to earn her trust, but she's staring her down. She's threatening her. She shows up bloody with a knife and talk about how people get what's coming to them. And I'd have more questions. Like, okay, so what's going on, little girl? She's trying to get her trust, but I would fuck all that. Like, we out in the wilderness. What the hell is going on? And I have a gun. Why would I be afraid of this little girl? You know what I mean? Like, I would have kept that gun tucked. Had a gun. But, you know, at this chapter, she has a gun. Like, we know that she has a gun. And Ella
still got the gun, for sure.
And in this chapter, we find out that Casey's dad is dead, which we figured. She kept talking about her dad in the past tense, but I feel like her dad has to be somebody important, because she keeps mentioning, my dad told me this, my dad told me that. You said that, Jay, in the previous episode, there's something about her dad that's important. And then I also wonder about Eleanor's strong reaction to the convo about her dad. She says he didn't have a good reason for leaving her and her mom. And it makes me think, so she knows why he left? I'm curious about that. It just makes, I'm like, okay, it's Eleanor. I wish that Freida would just make this clear by now. I'm so frustrated. Like, are they the same people or not?
We don't know. We don't
know.
She also has an abrasion on her arm from a cut that she sustained from whatever injuries that she had previously before she got over to Casey's house. And Casey attempts and is successful in covering up the abrasion on her arm with some antiseptic stuff and a Band-Aid. Eleanor was a little, abrasive about her touching her and kind of, but she's like, I'm a school teacher, so I really know how to do this anyway. So
like, you can trust me.
That was one of the other things that happened in this chapter as well. So it's like them connecting, but in a weird way, because she doesn't trust her, but she wants to find out more things about her. So as we move on to chapter 32, where we go into Ella's perspective, hideous smells in her mother's room is cluttered with junk and clothes, and it's a serious smell that's coming out of her closet. We found out that it's not pumpkins, it's pumpkin sauce. That's how long they've been in there, which the pumpkins damn near turned to sauce. It made her run out to the room and throw up. And she has to get that out the house. She's like, I got to get this out the house. But when she's doing that, she sees a letter that turns into a birth certificate, and it has her dad's name on it. So she's cleaning out. She can't take this smell no more. She's throwing the pumpkins away. And then she stumbles across this paper in her mother's room, which it turns out to be her dad's birth certificate.
Not her dad's birth certificate. It is her birth certificate, but it does have her dad's name on it.
It's her birth certificate with her father's name on it. And in chapter 33, we find out that her dad's name is John Carter, which if you could, when she started to connect those names, she's like, my dad's name is John Carter, but Brittany's father's name is John Carter. Her mother's name is Vanessa Carter. So now she is thinking that they sisters off the rack just because they got the same last name.
And they both have bright blue eyes as well. And I'm be honest, I did not think at this point that was her real dad. I was like, John Carter is such a common name. It's like John Smith. Like, you know what I mean? John Carters, there are out there. Like, that's just such a general name. But I knew that Brittany was supposed to be important to the story because the author Anton is important somehow, some way, which we know through his relationship with Ella, but also Brittany, because that was the only other classmate that Freida talks about of all these other people who probably feel some kind of way about Ella because she smells, she has this stuff going on, but Brittany is important. And now we see why, because Ella thinks that her and Brittany are sisters.
Exactly.
And they have the same dad. Yep.
This takes us to chapter 34. And
this chapter was crazy. This was a crazy chapter.
We find out that Carissa Harrell, something happened when the little girl from her teaching job and the baseball bat and heavy wood. That's all I got from that chapter.
Yep.
That was the reason why she got, but why? It doesn't even explain why this happened to her in the book. I still don't know, because by this time it's like she kind of just says, no, I had to do what I had to do. Carissa Harrell, and something happened with the little girl from her teaching job, a baseball bat and heavy wood. What did I miss?
Thinking that she attacked a parent or something. That's what I'm thinking. She's very, very sensitive to abuse. We see her reaction when she sees the cigarette burns on Eleanor's arm when they first encounter each other. So that's the one thing I'm thinking. She was trying to probably protect the student from their parent or something like that, and she hit somebody with a baseball bat. That's what I'm thinking as she was telling that story, because it fits. She's a defender. She loves innocent children. Like, she probably has her own trauma, which we don't really know about yet. But you know what I mean? It's just, that's my head. The only thing that would get her fired, because she seems like she cares about her students, and I can't see her doing anything like they would jeopardize it unless she's protecting them. But in this chapter 2, this was really creepy because Casey goes into the room where Eleanor is at, and Eleanor says, hey, can you tell me a bedtime story? And Casey tells this whack ass story. It's like a mix of all these different scary stories. And Eleanor is like, that's a really stupid story. And then Eleanor decides to tell her story, and she says there once was a little girl hiding in a tool shed. A nice young woman kindly took her into her home since it was the middle of the rainstorm. The little girl didn't trust the woman, though, and kept making veiled threats to harm her. So the woman forcibly put the child back out into... Sorry, that's my version. That was my version of the story. I'm sorry. I was saying Eleanor is telling this story to Casey, like, oh, let me tell a better story. And she starts telling the story about how she's gonna cut off her legs and set her on fire and stuff like that. I'm telling you, at this point, the little girl would have been out in the rain. Okay. And I said, this is my story. Okay. There once was a little girl hiding in a tool shed. A nice young woman kindly took her into her home since it was the middle of a rainstorm. The little girl didn't trust the woman, though, and kept making veiled threats to harm her. So the woman forcibly put the child back out into the rain, deadbolted the door, and the child ended up dying because a tree fell on her. The end. That would have been my response as Casey to Eleanor. Oh, okay, that's your story. Let me tell you my story because I'm the adult in this situation. How dare you threaten me in my house? She's threatened to chop off her limbs and burn her. like,
foul.
And I have to admit, my chest, my heart was beating out of my chest at this point because this part was very, very scary to me. It really was. Like, this little girl telling her basically, I'm going to kill you. I know you've been sticking through my shit, and you do it again, you might just wind up dead. I was like, oh no. Oh no, I was scared. How did you feel about that chapter?
That the way she was talking crazy to her, like, you in my bed under my 8 blankets, you know what I'm saying? And you told me to tell you a story, and then you gonna come through with this. But first of all, I'd have been like, yo, this little bitch is crazy.
No, you know that's literally what I was thinking. And Casey was a little too calm for me. I would have literally, no, I wouldn't have left. I would have got my gun because this is the thing.
Got the blade.
I don't care. At this point, she's in the room with the little girl. Someone makes a threat like that against me. That's what I mean. Like, we're out in the wilderness. You're a little girl. You came with a knife. You're covered in blood. Now you're threatening me. I'm going to get my gun. I'm going to tell you, look, I don't know who you are, but you got to go. And that would have been the end of it. What are you going to do? Try to stab me? I got a gun. I will shoot your ass. And no one's going to know. We out here in the wilderness. I haven't heard a missing person put out for you. No one's even going to know that you're dead. But even if they did, I would tell them, you're covered in blood. You had a knife with you. But Casey was just way too calm for me in this situation. She wasn't reacting fast or scared enough. I was terrified. Like, I was like, oh my God, this little girl is fucking crazy.
Like, that's how Freida be writing that jump, man.
Yes.
So we move to chapter 35. We go back to Ella. We're going to stay with Ella. She thinks she can confront. She's talking to Anton, and she's telling him about basically how she think that this is her new family and how she's going to confront them on, you know, the being a long lost child, the bastard child. And Anton's like, yo, don't even worry about that. Like,
don't even worry about it.
You don't need to be a part of their family. Like, you better than them. But she's like hell bent when they're having this conversation about being a part of their family and basically trying to blow that whole thing up. And, you know what I'm saying, be the person that be the daughter that she wants to be and have the parents that she wants to be.
Yep. And
figured out
he even says it sounds nuts to him. Yeah, he likes her, but even he's like, just let it go. It's not worth it. And she's not willing to let it go. She's like, look, this is my father. This is my family. They will pay for abandoning me and leaving me with my mom, who locks me in the closet and puts burnt cigarettes out on my arm, you know? So,
and which carries on to the school because they still at school. So when they go into school, now they at lunch and Ella doesn't have money for lunch. And we see Brittany and her homegirl Meredith giggling at her, you know, basically laughing at her because, you know, they know she ain't got no money. So Anton says, forget them. And, you know, he tries to give her some food, give her a little we give it a PB&J on the side. And she just,
which I thought was so sweet. He packed an extra sandwich for her. Yep.
I ain't packing no extra sandwich for her. She gonna have to eat that bread she got. You know what I'm saying?
I just said, Anton, forget it, buddy. You're just gearing up to get your heart broken because I mean, he's doing all this and he's like, you want to go to the movies? I don't have any money. And he's like, you don't have to pay. I don't want to go to the movies. That's why I said I think she likes him as a friend.
But she did say that they be sneaking in the movie theaters and that she didn't want to get caught.
She didn't want to do that.
In the movie theater.
And he was like, we don't have to do.
Didn't really realize.
But he said, we don't have to do that.
She's
I'll pay.
Slow. It's the smart people that be the slow. She's
she
smart
don't want to go to the
books,
movies
but
with
she
him,
don't
Jay.
really know.
It's just like Bones at the Crossroad when you wanted Malik and Dom to be together, and I kept telling you he did not like that girl. And even in the end, he's like, "Yeah, this is a wonderful start of friendship." I'm like, "Friendship? This is the same thing."
Kiss at the end, though, so it's all good. But chapter 37, after he ended on with disappointment in chapter 36, she didn't go out with him. We go into chapter 37, which is Casey's point of view. And she's like, she wonders why Eleanor is there, you know, and maybe she wants to be, you know, she start thinking like maybe she's exacting revenge from like some past from, you know what I'm saying? Or something.
Yeah, because like what smoke does she got with me? Yes.
And that's when she realized, oh, snap, I left the gun in the drawer. Like, oh, man, while she in there sleeping, right? And then
did you talk about how the notebook was? You probably about to get to that. Go ahead. Yep.
Right into that.
Yep.
Because she has these, when she realizes, she goes through the drawings and she had these drawings about her being stabbed up and beheaded. I'm like, yo, and hung. You got to go, shorty. Excuse me, ma'am. You go wake up.
Yep.
Or I would have just left. She's asleep.
But where is she going to go in the snow, in the rainstorm?
10 minutes.
But how is she supposed to get there? The the wind and the rain is so strong that it's about to topple a freaking gigantic tree.
And you let that wind blow your Lee crib. Or you let it just blow you somewhere else.
She wouldn't even get in her car to drive and find a hotel to safety. You think she's going to walk through the woods in a rainstorm? She's not going to do that. But yeah, she did make a mistake leaving that gun in the room. She really did. It would have always been on me. And that's the thing. I don't have children and I love children, but children that come to me covered in blood, I don't trust them. So the gun, the blicky would have always stayed on my lap. She would have seen it stay on my lap like, little girl, try something. I'm not one to play with. I've seen Orphan. I've seen Case 39. I will shoot a child if you try to come at me. It was crazy, wasn't it? It was a crazy. That was crazy.
Yeah. That was a crazy one. But in chapter 38, when she's looking for the gun, she's scared.
This is.
She finally gets the heart. Well, first of all, she finally gets the heart to say, "This is my house. I'm going to go in my room that I'm paying for, that I sleep in, and I'm going to get my gun." She goes into the room after tiptoeing in her own room like a punk.
Yep.
And she's looking through the drawer, trying to pull the drawers out slowly. You know, it's all creaking and everything like that. And next thing you know, Eleanor is sitting up, just looking at her. Like, you looking for this? With the gun right to her head.
With the blicky.
That's how the chapter ended. With the blicky right
and that's the thing I will say. I love that about Freida. The chapters are short, and each chapter like ends on an not each chapter. Most of the chapters end on an explosive cliffhanger. Like, what do you mean she has a gun and said looking for this? I was like, I literally said, I was like, oh my gosh.
That's Freida. I'm
scared. I'm scared.
That's Freida. I'm trying to tell you.
And before we even get the resolution to that, we jump back into Ella's point of view as she thinks, you know what? Since he don't want to be my daddy, I'm going to go break in their house and I'm going to see. Like, and that's what she's doing. She's crazy. Ella is crazy, but that's basically what happens in this chapter. She decides, I'm going to see how Brittany is living. I'm going to see how I could be living if my dad, Jonathan, would finally admit that he's my dad and I can come live with him. And this just shows the naivety of her youth, that she thinks that situation is going to end in a happy ending. Like, even if he was your daddy and he knows that you're his child, exactly. He ain't tried to check on you all this time. He doesn't want you. But I was like, poor girl, she's gearing to get her heart broke, but I'm like, oh, well, we gonna see.
Exactly. And that was chapter 39 right there when you was talking about that. But in chapter 40, she finally actually breaks into their home. And she's like, the flashlight looking around like, yo, what's wrong with this little girl? That's breaking and entering. How you trying to find out your father by breaking into their crib? Right? But then she ain't realized they had the big ass dog.
They had a dog that scared her off.
But guess what? My son get up out the crib, hit the feet, and going out the crib, right?
The thing is, too, I'm glad that there was a dog there, because in this chapter, you see her saying something like, if Brittany wakes up, I'm sure I could convince her to be quiet and go back to bed, or more, because she has that switchblade. Exactly. I was like, thank God for that dog. Saved by the bark, saved by the dog.
But she runs
for all the dogs, repping Drizzy Drake. That's Drizzy, his. Drizzy. Anyway, I had to throw that in there. We said dogs for all the dogs.
We the only ones that talk about Drake.
Literally, where are the real Drizzy fans? Not that this is about Drake, but come on now. I have to throw that in there.
Clever. She go to Anton crib and she show him the X-Acto knife. She calls for him, Anton, and she's like, yo, what are you doing out here? My son Anton a real one, because he walking her home. He tell her like, yo, what you doing
2 in the morning?
At 2 in the morning, and my son come downstairs, you know what I'm saying, and walk her home. I'm not walking nobody home at 2 a.m. Yo, what you doing? Go home. I'm tired. Window shut. Let me lock this just in case and put something up here to bolt to this door. This girl is nuts. You run into this man's crib. That means you like him. You feel me? So I'm like,
yep, she doesn't have any other friends. That's the only person that she trusts. That's why I say, you know that he really likes her at this point, because it's 2 in the morning. He gets up. He's like, let me walk you home. Even though she's like, no, you don't have to. He's like, nah, I'm going to walk you home. It's cool. I'm walking you home. And I love that. He didn't let her go by herself.
But then in chapter 41, she goes up to my son, John Carter. She goes up to the college where John Carter works at. It's Brittany's father. You don't even know if this is your father.
No, in her head, it is her father. She knows for sure. Yep.
We find out that he teaches sociology and he has a PhD. But then she gets confronted by Bettina,
who is like the assistant. Bettina,
assistant. And then she gets her confused with Brittany, gives her all these compliments and everything like that. And Ella
because she's thinking, why would this random girl be sitting outside this man's house
and
or this man's
Eleanor just
classroom?
eating it up. She like, yeah, this is the
And then the
life.
girl
She like,
offers her
yo,
some food too, as you know she hungry, so
takes
she just
off. She go get
smashes.
the
Yes,
food because she like, yo, your father in the staff meeting. I got snacks over here. Let's go over here and build. You can eat these snacks. So she like, bet you think I'm her anyway. You know what I'm saying? So then after that, chapter 42, we go back to Casey and we find out that the
whew.
tree fell.
Yep, the
This
tree
could have been the
falls.
end of it if she would have just let her stay out there. Because we found out that that tree that was swaying back and forth, that Rudy didn't fix, that she didn't lie to Eleanor about, it finally fell. But it fell on the tool
The
shed
shed,
where
which
Ella,
means Ella probably would have died if Casey didn't come and save her. And Ella does acknowledge that, like, you saved my life. Yeah, we'll
she
see if that
basically
makes a
said,
difference, but
exactly, which takes us in, because the chapter is real short. So it
it's
takes
real
us into
short.
chapter 43, which you want to explain what happened in chapter 43?
Yeah, so in chapter 43, Casey gets tied up. Ella has the gun and she makes her sit down and she ties her up. She ties her to a chair. And at this point, I will be honest, I was really confused that Casey didn't fight back a little more because we seen when Rudy touched her and she didn't want him to, she laid him out on the ground. I'm like, I know that this little girl has a gun, but I doubt she knows how to use it. And there was a point Casey had even said, at this point, I feel like I could, tackle her and get the gun, but she was scared that it would go off and injure the little girl. I'm like, fuck the little girl. Like, even if I'm getting shot, but she let this, that's what I put. She really let a child tie her up. I've been like, nope, you're going to have to shoot me.
Duct tape.
I will not, literally duct tape her. And she made her move to make sure she could not get out. And I'm just like, I would have not let her tie me up. I would not let a child control me. I guess she's a fucking psycho, but come on now, Casey. You could have wrestled the gun out of her arms, self-defense. But yes, chapter 43, Eleanor, because Ella is the different point of view. This is Eleanor and Casey's point of view. Eleanor ties Casey up. And I was just like, come on, you let her tie you up? So now I'm thinking she's about to start the beheading. We've seen what's in that notebook. She's about to start chopping limbs. And Casey, knowing that, let this girl tie her up. No way. Exactly. It wouldn't have been me.
And then she says,
I would have fought to the death.
After the chapter is about to finish, she says, it's for your own good. And then I'll be right back.
Yep, she's going to go get that.
Exactly. And then we switch over to chapter 44, which is this Ella and John Carter. So John Carter's like, yo, what are you doing? Like, she's at his school. So when he finally comes out of his staff meeting, he's like, yo, what's up with you? What you doing here? And once he realizes that it's her, she don't get that warm welcome that she thinks she's going to get. It's like, yo,
but he knows her. That was something that was apparent to me at the beginning of the chapter when John Carter sees her. He knows who Ella is. And I was like, it is her dad, because how else would he know her? Like, we've never heard anything about them having any other encounters yet in the book. But I thought that was really weird. John Carter knows her. He was just like, all right, I'm about to take you home. And then we find out.
Home is dead silence. They're not really talking. He drops her back off at the crib. And when she gets to the crib, she kind of like, the mother's like, yo, where you been at? She ordered pizza. So she like, yo, she ordered pizza on all the days. Like, you ordered pizza? So when she gets in there, she see that John Carter drops her off. She's like, can't really believe it. And then Ella's like, yo, they kind of have a little moment where she kind of thinks that she says it, and then she kind of just goes off. She spills the tea in front of both. She's like, yo, I'm putting a stop to both of this. I got both my parents here. And I'm like, these are not, one of them is your parents. I just
knew it. I was like, John, there's no way that's not her dad.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So she goes off and says, yo, this is my father right here. You know what I'm saying?
He's like, what? Because in her head, it's obvious that the mom knows John, that he knows her. When he comes in, he's like, we need to talk about your daughter. Like, we need to talk about her. So it's obvious they have some kind of relationship or connection. And Ella thinks they're connected because these are my parents. And sadly, that's not true. The reason why John Carter knows her knows her mother is because Ella actually pushed Brittany. And what did she do? Break her leg or something?
Break her arm.
Broke her arm. And that is why
Brittany, the little jungle gym when she was in the fourth grade,
and that's why she didn't remember in the way beginning. She was just like, I thought Brittany and me were cool, but she invited everybody else except for me to her fourth grade graduation. And I don't know how Ella could have forgot. Like, are you psychotic that you pushed this girl down? And then she even says, oh, I guess
Yeah.
Oh, well, I guess that makes sense why she didn't invite me. But that is how John knows Ella and Ella's mom, is because Ella hurt his daughter, Brittany. And that makes sense. That's, I mean, she probably does smell, but that's probably what Brittany's problem with her. Not because she smells, not because she's weird, but bitch, you broke my arm in 4th grade. You pushed me down and broke my arm.
Exactly.
So now
You're
we
not
know
coming to my party.
Ella is a little unhinged. She didn't even remember this. Like, and when she did, it was like, oh, whatever. Oh, well. But I did feel sorry for her in this chapter, Jay. I really did, because all she's wanted is to find her dad. She thinks, if I find my dad, I can get out of this situation. And look at the situation she lives in. Her mom is a hoarder, locked her in a closet. She doesn't have clean clothes. She doesn't have clean food. There's disgusting pumpkin shit everywhere. And we didn't even talk about this. When the mom comes home and sees that Ella, took the pumpkins out of the closet. Do you remember what she did? She dumped all the pumpkin nastiness all over Ella's floor. So now Ella's room smells like it. Exactly. So her mom is not a very nice person, being a hoarder aside. Putting that aside, she's still not a good woman. So I can understand Ella's disappointment. And this is not your dad. Your dad is not a doctor. And tell us who Ella's dad really is. I think the mom talks about it in this chapter.
Yep. For assault. After she's like, yo, she laughed at her like, yo, you think your dad is this dude? Your dad
right, look how stupid you are. And then she calls Ella stupid. Like, how do you think that this doctor, this PhD professor could be your dad when you're so stupid? Her mom is just, I mean, this mom and the mom from the Precious movie can give each other a run for their money for worst mothers ever. Yes, literally.
So after that chapter ends with Casey kind of just dipping out and just being distraught, it kind of goes, it kind of peels off into Casey's point of view, where she's still tied up. She's trying to break free. Everything that her father taught her, swing your arms around it. It's just going to take momentum, acceleration. So this 2-page chapter right here, she's literally like, yo, if I just swing my arms with acceleration, I can get out. But she can't get out because she's duct taped to the T. And then she's just trying to break her wrist just to get through, but she can't get through. And this whole chapter was just her realizing that, yo, everything your father taught you ain't working because your ass is still trapped.
Well, and that's true. And it made me again wonder about her dad. He seems to have taught her all these survival type things. You know what I mean? And this is when I started to understand Jay's earlier prediction. Do you remember your earlier prediction about how the two point of views were connected?
Yeah.
Jay's prediction was that Ella's point of view was actually Casey, and Casey is having a psychotic break. And I'm not going to say that I totally believe that he was right, because I have my own theory. But in this chapter, you can see how Casey's dad has taught her all these things: how to break out, how to shoot, how to protect yourself in the storm. He's teaching her self-defense. And I'm thinking, how would a man know all these things? And I was thinking maybe he was in jail. He was in prison. You know what I mean? If you're in prison, you're learning all these self-defense things, how to protect yourself, how to watch your back. And we just seen in Ella's point of view that her mom told her, your dad was a prisoner, or he's an inmate. He went to jail for assault and he didn't want us when he came out. So now I'm starting to get these parallels between the two of these. And I'm not saying that that's what happened, but I see Jay's vision and I'm with you. I understand. I got you. We're here.
And just in the next chapter, just when Casey, because we ain't even gonna give y'all chapters, y'all should follow along by now.
Y'all follow along. Yep.
Casey's scared ass think Ella's about to hurt her because she wants that notebook, right? And she basically said they must pay for what they did. It's like subtle points just hitting us all in all. What did you think about Casey being scared that Ella's about to hurt her when she's like, no, don't hurt me?
What chapter are we on? 46?
45. 46, sorry.
46. That's what I thought. Okay. I said, well, in the end, she does cut the duct tape. Yeah, right at the end of chapter.
She does that little slash down.
That little slash down.
She does the slash down. We thinking that she cut her because she's like, oh, I'm about to start bleeding.
I literally put that at the end of chapter 46. I said, I bet she just cut the duct tape at the end, and she might have just tied her up so that she was sure she couldn't run and tell anyone that she was there. Anybody. Because that was something that she was like, she didn't want anybody to know she was there. When when Casey had passed the phone in the earlier chapter, Eleanor tensed up and she was like, don't worry, the phone's not working. So whatever her plan is, she doesn't want anybody to know. She recognized that Casey saved her life, and she probably tied her up just to make sure that she wouldn't run and tell her. So this chapter ends as she comes down and slashes the knife. And as we begin on chapter 47, we're in a different point of view. And that's why I said Freida keeps me reading, because just when I'm like, oh my gosh, then it's a different point of view and we have to start and build that tension right back up. But I love it. I'm literally having so much fun with it.
Keep going. I want you to keep going.
Yes, exactly. So 47, I was cracking up because Anton says he has something called impulse control, and Ella thinks it's called pulse control, and she's like, yeah, I just really don't want anything to happen to his heart. And then chapter 47 ended insanely. Okay, so this is finally the showdown between Brittany, Anton, and Ella. Anton and Ella finally have made it official. He grabs her hand. She realizes they like each other. Everything's going great. He showed her, don't worry about Brittany. It's nothing. And then Brittany comes out and sees them holding hands. And she's talking a bunch of shit. Like, that's why your mom's a hoarder. You're this. Anton, you're this and that. Ella gets mad, pushes her. Okay, she pushes Brittany. Brittany pushes her back. So at this point, the argument is between her and Brittany. And then Anton takes it upon himself to pick up a rock and basically bludgeon Brittany. Like, just
but before he did that, though,
before he did that, he did. He punched her in her face first. And then, yeah, it's not funny. Okay, don't laugh.
Beat the shit out of you, son.
It's not funny. It's not funny because these are children, and I do not condone men hitting women. But I was like, dang! He punched Brittany in the face, and he picks up a rock and just repeatedly slams it on her head. I'm gonna be honest though. I thought that this was so out of character for Anton because he always seems like the gentle giant, and we was just seeing him get his ass kicked by Devin. So I'm like, where was this energy when this other man was kicking your ass?
Because my girl.
But that's what she said. Crazy. She said that she was like, he was doing that to protect her, but it was a completely insane overreaction on his part. He got mad at Brittany for pushing Ella, and I'm like, but Ella pushed her first, and he's the one that's been saying the whole time, ignore her, don't worry about her. So I thought it was, I'm gonna be honest, I get that this was needed to further the plot, but I was like, there's no way he would just fucking deck her shit. And then he picked up a rock and just is slamming it against her head over and over. He broke like all of her teeth. It was a completely gruesome scene. And to me, it didn't feel like something that Anton would do because he just got his ass kicked by Devin. You know what I mean? Like, he doesn't fight back. Like, he has impulse control, but he had been trying to stop hitting people and things like that because he didn't want to get the tension because he wanted to spend time with Ella. So the fact that he just did this, and him punching her would have been enough. Him taking that rock and slamming it, I was like, I could not believe he did it. But yeah, it was a bloody, bloody end to this chapter. My goodness.
Keep going, Brittany, sis. You on the roll.
All right, now we at chapter 48. We at chapter 48. And let me see what I put. So in chapter 48, she realizes also that when she takes another look at the drawing that Eleanor had drew, she realizes that the lady in the drawing has a mole on her face. And Casey then realized, this is not me. This is not me. Even though she thought that Eleanor had drew a picture of her, that's not her in the picture. So now we have to figure out, okay, Eleanor has now left. Okay. She wasn't after Casey. Who exactly is she after? And who
didn't even want to hurt her.
She didn't even want to hurt her. And then, yeah, so Eleanor also took the gun when she left. And she tells Casey, I need it. So we know now her target was not Casey. The woman in the picture is not Casey. And Eleanor leaves with the gun. And in my head, I'm immediately thinking, where could she get to on foot? Lee's house. Lee's house. Lee's house is 5 minutes away. And now I'm thinking, how is she connected to Lee, though? I still don't know that yet. Is Lee her dad? Is Lee the convict? I don't know. But at this point, I'm like, it has to be Lee because she's like, you know what I mean? I'm like, it has to be Lee.
Free to get you.
That's how free to get you. And then we go into chapter 49 and we see that Ella and her mother have an explosive argument. I mean, they really start butting heads. And
she calls her a bum. She basically say you dirty. That's why excuse me. That's why no dude wants you because you dirty. You dirty. Like, look at you, bozo. You a bum. Get out of here.
Her mom did not like that. Her mom did not like that. And the note I put was, her mother done fucked up putting her in that closet. And she's angry. I said, woo, Lord save her. Because now Ella realizes her mother has put her in the closet, but guess what? She knows now how to pick the lock of the closet. Anton's not around to help her and hold her hand. Yep.
No, what I'm doing, trying to start what? Nope, we'll get into that. That's what I said. I can feel a burn. I can feel a burn.
Okay, so moving right along. Did she said she didn't do it in that chapter though? Did she?
Nah, the next chapter, right after they had that fight. Remember, she threw her in the closet, right? And she like, yo, little do you know, this gonna be the last time you put me in the closet, bro.
It's gonna be the last time she puts in the closet.
You want to play? You want to talk crazy to me like that? And remember, she threw in the closet, but this time she locked it. And like really locked it with the lock, with the key, and broke out. And that's when Ella was like, "Oh Lord, does she know I'm about to get up out of this junk?"
And then she used the green lighter that Anton had gave, or she left the green lighter that Anton had gave her. And man, I don't condone a child killing their mother in real life, but I totally get Ella's frustrations with her mother in this book.
Hold on, but we got to set this scene the right way.
Okay.
After she comes out of the closet, she grabs some mattresses, she grabs some pieces of paper, and she lights the whole thing on fire. She
But
looking
she does it
around.
strategically. Remember, she
Yeah.
grabs the mattresses, she grabs the papers, and she spreads them out all over the stairs, basically blocking her mother's exit. Her mother is not, because she has all these papers and shit on the stairs. She cannot get out. Like, she's going to come out of her room, see the fire. She could slip and she's going to fall and hurt herself. And I think Ella wanted her mother to die. She made sure that her mother was going to die. And she took the mattresses, took all that paper, and she set it ablaze. She set it ablaze. And she says her father is next. And the thing about me too is, though, she set the whole house on fire. Like, she literally was like, this woman is dying. And like I said, I'd never condone a child killing their mother. Like, this is fiction, but I get it. I understand where she was coming from, because her mother was an evil bitch. Okay. But I feel sorry because she says her father is next. And so that's why, literally in my head, I'm like, Ella has to be Eleanor, right? At this point, because Eleanor is probably going to find somebody. I'm like, maybe that's what I don't, but I don't know, because that's how Freida gets you. When you think you know, you literally don't know. But all that she says at the end of this chapter is her father is next. And I'm like, but who? We don't really know who her father is at this point. It's still a mystery, but she says her father is next. The next chapter, I said, I know I made a lot of predictions throughout the story.
This is what I was waiting for. This is where I'm waiting. This is why I wanted you to lead the rest of the episode, because I want you to understand that you're dealing with the thriller queen. You're not dealing with these basic people. You're dealing with the thriller queen. Now go ahead.
So I said, I know I made a lot of predictions throughout the story, but one of my predictions was based on the fact that Lee was suspicious and had blue eyes. And earlier on in the very first episode, I was like, he has to be somebody's daddy because the blue eye thing. And now we find out that Eleanor, did not mean to find Casey's house. She meant to find Lee's house, because they only live about 5 minutes apart. And it seems like I was correct when I said that Lee has something to do with it. Is he Eleanor's father at this point? That's what I'm thinking at this point, because Casey discovers, like, yeah, she wasn't coming to my house. She was coming to somebody else's house that's really close to me. The only person's house that's close to me is Lee. So now we know Eleanor has left Casey's house with the knife and a gun, and she is headed for Lee's house. And I'm like, how is she going to tell him in time? The phones are down. Eleanor had a head start. Is she going to make it to his house in time to save Lee? And what has Lee been doing? You know, we know he's a little weird. He's a little suspicious. We don't know too much about him, but we do know that he is somehow connected to Eleanor. And she somehow, some way thinks maybe that this is her father. So we go to page 52, and this is Jay, I don't even want to talk about it. I don't, because you're over there smirking. I don't like that. So this is the chapter that Freida got me. We find out in chapter 52 that Eleanor, who is the little girl that is in Casey's cabin, and Ella are not the same person. And you know who Ella is? Ella is actually who, Jay? Go ahead.
Casey, which Ella her name is Elizabeth Casey. And I'm like, what the hell is going on between the sheets in my home?
And we find this out because in this chapter, I think we're in Ella's point of view. Her mom, the police come, the firefighters come. She's sitting outside the house, and after she set her mom's house on fire, and then they end up telling her, like, we're really sorry that your mom didn't make it. And they ask her name. And at this point, I'm thinking she's about to say Eleanor. We're going to be able to put the two and two together. But she says Elizabeth. I'm like, Elizabeth? Who the fuck is Elizabeth? Who's Elizabeth? Supposed to be Eleanor. And it's so funny how Freida did that, because Ella could be a nickname for Elizabeth or Eleanor. But yes, so Eleanor is in Casey's point of view. Ella is actually Casey when she was younger. We find out in the next chapter. I'm sorry I spoiled that. That's on the next chapter. But we find out in this chapter for sure that Eleanor and Ella are not the same person. So these are two different women with like almost the same story. Cigarette burns, running from somebody, absolutely psychotic.
But she made you think that Ella was
the same person.
Eleanor. Huh?
Yep.
This is Freida we talking about.
So in chapter 53, it starts, and I said, oh my gosh, Jay was right. Make sure y'all follow us on Fable too, because we definitely add these notes in here, and we are hilarious. So I said in this, oh my gosh, Jay was right. Ella is Casey. And I said, in my defense, I did say how similar they were. And I said, he's so good. He was able to guess the twist perfectly. And I even put, if y'all watch our podcast on YouTube, you can see that he predicted that. And Jay did. At the very first episode, he predicted that Ella and Casey were the same person, that Casey was having a psychotic break. Now, he was only half right because she's not having a psychotic break, but they are the same person. And so that's how Casey can identify with what Eleanor is going through, because she's been through the same thing. And that maybe explains why she wasn't as scared of her as she should have been, because she's like, I've been there. I know how to handle this girl because I was the same way. So,
and then we get to see what we Eleanor Kettering now.
What do you mean?
That's her name.
Eleanor. Yes. Hold on. Sorry, I'm just trying to read my notes.
No, you good. You good. Eleanor Kettering is her name. Lee got, not Lee, but her brother, because she goes to Presley about him being her pops, because she got the gun and she's shaking at him or whatever the case may be, because she like, yo, you my mom, you know what I'm saying, you abandoned me. I ain't even gonna say, I want to say you abandoned us, you just left us for dead, and now I'm here to kind of take your life. And Lee like, and he like, no, don't shoot, please don't shoot. That's how I figured he was, like, don't shoot, like, what's going on with this girl, you know what I'm saying? And he's like, yo, I didn't abandon you, like, I never got your mom pregnant, you know what I'm saying? And we find out that it was really because he also almost threw under the bus, because he was like, yo, we just thought she was asking for money. So I'm like, why would you tell an enraged girl before that was your brother baby mom's, that she was just calling asking for money and you didn't understand why?
He was just trying to explain. I didn't know what she was calling for. I didn't even know that she was pregnant. She called it. She could have been a scammer, and we found out what her mom was up to later in the chapter. But
and he doesn't know why his name was on the birth certificate.
What's his name on the birth certificate?
Yeah, but it wasn't him. It was his father. It was his brother.
It was his brother.
It was his brother that was supposed to. So he's like, I don't understand why my name on there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's like, I'm not your dad. Yeah,
it's my brother.
I'm not your dad.
And then he kind of explained to her, like, yo, you know what I'm saying? Like, that was my brother. They had a romantic relationship. And she was like, well, what happened to, like, they was like, what happened to your brother? And he kind of had this sad face on, like, my brother died.
Yeah, and
he died in a car crash. You know what I'm saying? He died, person went through the light and killed him. And then she's like, well, damn, like, now she's sitting there crying, balling up. And this is a side that we didn't see from her, because here she came to kill her father and she almost killed her uncle, supposedly, because we don't even know if her dad, that was really her dad that died, which is Lee's brother, is really even her father. You know what I'm saying? There's no real evidence right now that Lee is the dad, but this is just from her speculation point. So now she's withering on the couch, she's crying, and kind of Casey goes over there to kind of comfort her. And now they're more or less going from the angry, aggravated stage to now we're going to the more down, crying, back into kid format once she realizes everything that she did. You know what I mean?
And I do want to make a correction.
Chapter 53.
Yeah, Neil's name wasn't on the birth certificate. What happened was she found her birth certificate, and because I was thinking that too, like, how was his name? She found her birth certificate, and in with her birth certificate was his name and his phone number, and so that's how she tracked him down. But his name wasn't actually.
She went to the old crib, and they said he had
and the
moved,
landlord said,
and she got his new address from that place, and that's how she was able to find him. I did,
and I will say too, I thought that this was a little too convenient. Like, I get that Freida was trying to trick us, like, ooh, they're not actually the same person. But what are the chances? Both women's nickname is Ella, or a nickname can be Ella. They both were burned by their mother with cigarettes. They both mistook who their dad was. You know what I mean? It was, for me, it was like, I get that this was a twist, but it's literally insane how similar these two girls are, how Ella is to Eleanor, and they existed decades apart. And I said that in the very beginning, Eleanor and Casey and Ella, they all like share something. They all seem similar, but I thought that was a crazy coincidence how similar Casey and Eleanor were. They had so many things in common. So can you blame me for being confused? I don't blame myself. It's Freida's fault.
And let's end it with chapter 54.
Yep. So one question that I had was, I didn't understand, Eleanor is 12, 13. I was just like, how was a 12 or 13-year-old able to use a map to find a cabin hidden in the woods? That didn't make sense to me.
With no cell phone. Because mind you,
with no cell phone.
They was playing, like, this is now up to date, because Eleanor, which is Casey, Ella, which was Casey from back in the day, it had to be an update because she was playing Nintendo. Well, the brother was playing Nintendo, so I had to say this was the late 80s when Nintendo probably first dropped, early 90s maybe.
So but maybe they didn't have GPS on.
No, but now we in a new time, because how did this girl find his home. Now we probably in new time. It's no phone. Well, she should have had a phone, but no phone was working. So how did she, directly find, his house? I really don't know. But
I'm telling you, that's the one thing I said I don't really buy it because she's 12. And we find out why she escaped is because her mom's boyfriend, they had gotten a big argument. Her mom's boyfriend ended up stabbing her mom, but she knew that they would try to blame it on her because her mom wasn't a good mom. So of course, that's why she was all bloody.
Tried to throw it on her and say,
"Yo, you did this. Yeah,
you did this." So she's like,
and so she ran away
and broke out, but she had all these blood all over her clothes. So she wound up having a knife and taking a knife, and then she just broke out. And then and then Casey and Neil kind of not really come up with a plan, but Casey's like, yo, just stay with your niece. And I'm like, damn, you throwing niece on him already. We don't know if this is his brother's daughter. She like, I'm going to go and get police. I'm going to go and get help. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to tell him what's going on with you. I promise you. But she like, I'm going to go ahead and go get help. You stay with your niece. And then she kind of asked him, do she got photos? And I'm like, so everything is calm now?
Yeah, Casey's I felt the same way.
Because the storm is coming down. It's now like 5 o'clock in the morning, almost 6 o'clock.
The storm is over. Yep. Mm-hmm.
And now she's about to go and get help and see, what can
she do.
She's
not going to get help.
Help. She's going to check and see if the mother's okay. Going to try to get information to see if the mom's is okay.
No, she's going to kill the mom. She says, I have a very different plan to ensure that Nell doesn't have to suffer one more day at the hands of that miserable woman. It's time for misery to end. And so now we know she killed her mom when she was younger. Now she's about to go kill Eleanor or Nell's mom. And like I said, there was a lot of things about this chapter that I feel like I wasn't buying. The fact that she found his house based on a map. She's 12 and 13 years old. I don't believe she did that. Number 2, Nell seems to be an abused child. She doesn't even seem to be psychotic. It just seems like her mom abuses her. Casey or Ella, she was freaking crazy. So I'm wondering where the Nell went that was threatening to chop up and burn Casey's body. Where is that tough girl? Right. She just left? Because I'm going to tell you something. Eleanor or Ella, the point of view, the other point of view, she was crazy the entire time. She never wasn't crazy. She never turned the crazy off. She even admits to her dad, in Casey's point of view, that she killed her mom. Like she admits that she told her dad, and he was like, look, she deserves to die. Like, she's always been a little bit fucking nuts. You know what I mean? But where did Eleanor's nuts go? Like, she was so bold and I need this gun, I'm gonna shoot him. And I didn't understand why she was just so furious at the dad. You don't know why she left the mom. Like, your mom was crazy. What is she? I don't know. There was a lot about this chapter. And like you said, now it's all summed up. Kumbaya, no paternity test. He just believes, because she kind of looks like me, that this is his daughter, like, or this is his brother's, this is his niece. I was like, okay. The fact that Casey is still like, you know what, I'm going to go kill this bitch. And I'm like, I get it. But I'm like, damn, you've already killed one person. Girl, calm down.
You ain't even a killer like that.
Like, come on now. And then, but that's how we end chapter 54. I don't know. What are your predictions for the rest of the book?
I don't want to make no predictions.
I know. I'm sure you'll be right. You was already half right. Like, I could not believe that you guessed that.
Because I don't know.
I'm gonna tell you something. We was both half right. You guessed that Casey and Ella were the same, and I guessed that Lee was somebody's daddy because of the blue eyes. So me and you, we both get 1 point each. One. We're tied.
1 point each, man.
Even though Jay got me, you're good. I admit you good. The fact that you picked that up, that was really good. So he's the thriller. He's the, like you said, I'm the reader. He's the speaker. He's the speaker. He gets it.
But that's how the middle of the book was. Like, we took a little bit from the beginning, and then we took a little bit from the end, and we broke down the whole middle. So now we're going towards the end of the book, and the end of the book will be in our next episode with the epilogue, because Freida always gives us these exciting epilogues towards the end. I can't wait. So we can figure that the next part of the twist, it's the twist, and it's the twist. And
I don't even think we've seen the last of the twist. Like, we think that, we got to figure it out. Mm-hmm.
So this is the next episode. Next week is going to be the last episode for this book, The Intruder. I'm having a ball reading it. It's keeping me on my toes. My co-host can say the same as she just said. And I'm looking forward to the end of this book, man. You got anything for the people before we get out of here?
No, just make sure to follow us on Fable. It's Key and J Booked Podcast. That's our Fable name. We are doing all kind of books. So every book that we read, we will be updating and making funny comments and notes and predictions in our Fable book club. So definitely be sure to join us. We have 5 members currently. I'm trying to make it to 10 by the end of the month. So definitely you don't want to miss out. Definitely check out our first episode of the podcast where we go over the beginning of The Intruder. And then stay tuned for next week where we bring it to the thrilling finale when we finally get to know what the hell is happening in this book. So I cannot wait. And I hope that you guys will be there to join us. Remember, you can get The Intruder on Kindle Unlimited, which is where I am reading it, and my co-host Jay got his book from Tarjay, 30% off. So be there or be square.
Exactly. And if you don't feel like reading it, man, grab that audio book from Audio.
Grab the audio book.
Grabbing new emails. They 9 cents and they not even sponsoring us, but we still, everybody here, we ain't even get no sponsors. So hopefully somebody see this. And
no, not yet. Us, the key word being yet. See, yet, we speaking it.
We'll tune in, or we'll get y'all to tune in with us next week, man. She's the reader. I'm just a speaker. Peace.
Peace.